Hey guys, today I'm filming my Throwback Thursday of my January favorites from 2015. If you guys have never seen this video from me before, I'll have my playlist linked down below. And basically I'm going to be re-reviewing all the products I featured in a favorites video 2 years back and letting you know my current thoughts on those products, whether they are still favorites or whether I have replaced them with something I prefer. My inspiration for this series was Kristen Game. I will have her channel and her playlist linked down below. I will also link down below the original favorites video, and I will list and link all the items that I'm mentioning. My first item isn't an actual product, it is a technique, and that is reviving cream eyeshadows. I actually just did this recently. I had heard a lot of different things about how to revive cream shadows using eye drops and other oils, put it in the microwave, all this stuff. But a few of my subscribers, Grace, Amazing Grace, XOXO1, and Hope to Know You 95, had left me comments saying all you need is a toothpick. And I tried it out and they were totally right. So here's a cream shadow I just mixed up. And all you do is stick a toothpick in there, go back and forth, up and down, completely chop it up, stir it around, and then I just take my finger, I look for the one where my nail is the shortest, and I just smush it back into place and smooth it out, and it is creamy good as new. The very first time I had tried this technique, I did it with my Bad to the Bronze, which was literally broken up into pieces. It was that dried out. And by doing this technique, and this technique alone, I didn't add any product, I was able to mix it up. It was a creamy shadow, and I was able to finish it completely 2 years later. So that's really amazing that all you have to do is mix it up and it works great. So if you have cream shadows that start to dry out and you don't want to throw them away, then just try this method. I absolutely still love this method. It is a great favorite, and as I said, I just used it the other day. And my next favorite was a little mini accomplishment. I had finally completed my 15 pan MAC eyeshadow palette, which was very exciting for me. I can't believe it was 2 years ago that I finished this palette, but oh my gosh, I finished this palette and it is absolutely perfect in my opinion. You've probably heard me talk about this several times, but I have my shadows laid out in warm tones, cool tones, brights, shimmers, mattes, with the exception of this one matte highlight shade. I love this palette so much. I love all of these colors. I love all of these formulas, and I love the way everything is laid out. So my MAC palette is definitely still a favorite. MAC makes some of my all-time favorite eyeshadows. And another part of this favorite was that now that I have my MAC palette completely full, it was really hard to pop out eyeshadows that I needed for traveling or other purposes. So what I was using was this Revlon metal nail file. Any metal nail file will do, and stick it under the corner of one of these shadows and then pop it out. It totally works. I definitely use it all the time whenever I need to travel with eyeshadows, so highly recommend using something like this. I have tried using my fingernails. Sometimes I end up jabbing the product, and you can jab it with this too, so you really just need to be very, very careful and try to go around the edges, loosen it up, and then you just dig underneath and pop it right out. And when I take shadows out of that MAC palette, I put them in this little e.l.f. custom compact, or the Elements quad. I don't know if they make these anymore, unfortunately, but this is a fantastic magnetic quad from e.l.f. that MAC shadows do stick to. It has a really nice mirror, and this is $1. The MAC quads aren't that expensive actually, so I wouldn't mind getting one of those, but this works just fine for me. So something I wanted to mention is that not all magnets are compatible. So the e.l.f. and the MAC work great together, but Anastasia and Makeup Geek, I've tried putting them in this palette and they fall right out. Even though they have a magnet, it is not a compatible magnet. Those are compatible with Z palettes, but the Z palette magnets, I've tried putting on some of my MAC blushes to put in my MAC palette. Doesn't work. It doesn't stick. So, and I think MAC shadows will stick in a Z palette, but you cannot use a Z palette magnet on a MAC product and put it in a MAC palette. I know that sounds pretty confusing, but I wanted to let you guys know because of course things cannot be simple for us. My next two favorites were brushes. The first is the Real Techniques contour brush, and I was using this to blend out my under eye concealer. I haven't used this brush in probably over a year. It's fantastic quality, but I do have other contour brushes I prefer. And I've also gone back to just using a sponge to blend out my under eye concealer. I just think it makes it look more flawless. Now the brush can give more coverage, but I feel like it also gives more streaks. I might want to try this brush again and see how it works out, because right now I'm having some issue. It seems like I'm over blending my concealer and then it's kind of patching away and my redness is coming through. So I'm thinking I might try this again, but as of now, I think this is a fantastic quality brush. I like it for contouring, but I do prefer sponges for concealing under the eye. My next brush is the Real Techniques powder brush. In that video, I have been using this to apply bronzer to my neck. It is a fantastic brush for that because this is so big, but I'm not really applying bronzer to my neck anymore. But I have been using this brush every single day to set my face. And I used to really pack on powder with a dense brush, and to me, that just made my makeup look a little bit too cakey and feel too heavy. So now I just use this big fluffy brush and set my face overall, and then I will go in with a more dense brush in certain areas where I'm the most oily, like the center of my chin, the sides of my nose, and on my temples. So apply my powder with a more dense brush there, but all over just using this brush right here to give a light dusting of powder to set my makeup without making me look cakey. I think that this brush is fantastic. My next favorite was a combination of cheek products with a lipstick, and all the cheek products came from this Too Faced Everything Nice palette. I do have a chit chat get ready with me using this palette. I will have that linked up here. So what I was loving from this palette was using Chocolate Soleil to contour, Papadon Peach Blush, and the Inner Light Highlight. I don't know how similar this color is to the new Papadon Peach Blush. I think the new one might be a little bit lighter, but I think this color is so pretty. This is just more of a wearable muted peach, but it isn't pastel, and it also has a bit of a sheen to it. It looks really, really healthy and beautiful on the skin. I've not used this palette in so long because I don't love the eyeshadows, but I definitely want to pull it out again to use those cheek products because they are really nice quality. The Chocolate Soleil bronzer is fantastic. I love the scent, but it also performs really well. Inner Light Highlight is nice. It is a bit more natural on my skin, so if you are fair and you like a natural highlight, that would be a good one. But my favorite part of that cheek combo is definitely the Papadon Peach Blush. And the lip color I was wearing with that is one of the NARS Audacious lipsticks in the shade Raquel. I do have an entire review video on the NARS Audacious lipsticks. I will have that linked up here. So here's a swatch of Raquel. It is a really pretty peachy beige. On the website, they describe this as a pink beige, but as you can see on my skin tone, definitely pulls more peach. I do like these lipsticks. They are really opaque. They are very creamy, more of a satin formula. They do eventually dry down, but they are creamy when you first apply them. They wear for a decent amount of time. They're not too drying, but overall, I don't understand what is so special about these lipsticks that makes them worth the price. Like I said, I love this color. It's a nice formula, but this was really, really expensive, and I definitely don't feel the need to go out and buy any others. I don't regret having this one, but if I did it all over again, I probably wouldn't buy it. And my last favorites were some ColourPop lip products. I believe this was the first time I had ever tried out ColourPop lippies, and my first favorite was the ColourPop Lippie pencil in the shade Bound. This is supposed to be a dupe for MAC's Whirl, and here is what Bound looks like. It is a pinky brown shade, and here is a swatch of Bound. I do enjoy this lip liner, but it can look a little bit too dark on me. I have to pair this with certain lipsticks, but because this is a lot darker than it looks in the packaging and not as pink, it pulls more brown on me. I don't reach for it as often for the color, but I love the ColourPop lip liner formula. They are the only colored lip liners I have in my collection. They are really pigmented and really creamy without slip sliding around. They are great to line your lips or fill them in completely, so highly, highly recommend the ColourPop lip liners. And then I had 3 ColourPop Lippie Stick favorites. They're all different finishes. The first shade I have is Bound, which is a really nice muted light pink, and it does have a glossy finish. This is a color that can look a little too light on my skin tone, so I do pair it with the Bound Lippie pencil, but I do really have to blend them together because it is a pretty harsh difference in color between the lip liner and the lipstick. I don't love the glossy formula. They definitely feel a little bit more thick on my lips. They have a nice glossy sheen to them. I don't hate the glossy formula, but again, it's not my favorite, and this is actually the only glossy one that I have. So this one I wouldn't necessarily consider a favorite anymore because I don't reach for this shade, but I want to test it out again and see if I still love it. Next we have Frida, which is a satin finish. This was created by Coffee Break with Danny. This is a really pretty orangey, pinky, peach color. This looks different on everybody. On some people, this definitely pulls more on the peachy pink side, and on me, it definitely pulls out some more of these orange tones, and I don't like that. This is a color that totally depends on the rest of my makeup, and most of the time I don't like this on me, which makes me so sad because I love Danny, and this looks so good on everyone, but don't love it on me. The satin formula is nice. This feels pretty lightweight, and it has a really nice creamy finish to it, and after a little while it will set down to look more matte, but I think the satin finish is really nice. And lastly, I have Lumiere, which is a matte finish. This is created by Kathleen Lights. This is a really great mauve shade. This is a dupe for the NARS Audacious lipstick in Anna, which was super duper popular 2 years ago. Everyone was dying over the formula and that shade. I love this color. It is so stunning. I love wearing it in the winter. It definitely looks darker on me than it does on other people, but I really do still love it. And the matte formula is my favorite of their lipstick, so highly recommend this one, and I'm glad it is part of their permanent line. They just discontinued Frida, which I don't know why, but Kathleen's Lumiere shade is still available. And here are swatches of the Lippie sticks. We have Bound, Frida, and Lumiere. So guys, that was my Throwback Thursday of my January favorites from 2015. I would love to know your thoughts if you tried out any of these products. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye guys.